Hi guys, welcome to the channel. This is Aquascaping on the Fly Living Art Creations. I'm your host, Anthony, and content creator. Today, I thought it was time we revisit some of my favorite terrariums. Now, the terrariums, yes, are right alongside the aquariums, but the aquariums get 99% of the show. So I thought it was time to do a little preview of what kind of shape they're in, where I'm keeping them, and how they're doing, and what they look like. Since I have this nice, awesome little space up here now, I'm going to give you a screenshot. I'm going to go freestyle. You guys know I'm not that great when I go freestyle. It gets kind of bumpy, so watch the road. And I'll give you a shot where they are now, and then I'll bring them over, and then I can open them up, and we can take a look and see what's really going on inside all of the terrariums. So I hope you're excited to see the terrariums, and I also want to say a special thank you to our new time. Okay, I can't get out what I'm going to say here. Our first time visitors. Oh my God, it's just, the video's going downhill so quickly from here. Anyway, so welcome if you're new to the channel. Yes, I can get my words out. And also thank you to our FlyScrapers Collective. Those are my subscribers. You guys actually have a name now, and I'm really proud of that. So there's over 300 of you, and I'm excited to get to the next milestone, which for me is going to be 500. So you guys get busy out there pushing the videos out. So without further ado, let me get up, get situated. We'll go over to the locations where the terrariums are, take a quick peek, and then look inside. All right, so stick around, guys, and thanks for joining me today. Okay, those of you who are familiar with the channel, the ones that have been around from the beginning, should recognize this shot really easy. We are looking into the firebox, which originally was called Kong Skull Island. Unfortunately, he died and had to be dismantled. Just like the fate of the original Kong, he died as well. Oh, guess I named it wrong. So now it's Desert Oasis. With a waterfall on the right side that we don't keep water in anymore because that was a breeding ground for, you guessed it, gnats. But we have here at the foreground, on your left to the very back, well, we have two kind of right there at the front. So in the left back and then on the right, kind of in the middle, you've got two punch bowls. The one that's on the very back with the sticks coming out of it, that is an Art Deco etched glass punch bowl. And then the one right in front of you, that is a more like a softened curve. It's almost like a shell motif on those. So they kind of like overlay each other like a shell would if you were laying them out like in a shell pattern. Both beautiful and striking. And then you have a lantern, which is the foreground. And then on the other side here, we're doing cylinders. So you've got the 17-inch, a 15-inch. I can't remember what the third one is that has the rubber stopper in it. But this is where they stay. As you can tell, I do have one light. This is the same lighting I use on the aquariums, and it's on its own little timer. And then there's a grow light inside of the firebox. Let's get you closer in. So now you can tell. All right, so the waterfall was amazing. That's a spiral staircase waterfall, meaning it starts at the top back. It curves all the way around to the front. It went over every single one of those rocks, but having water in there was just too tempting for the gnats, and they just made it unbearable for the owner, me. The plants up there did not care whatsoever. I just gave all this a trim back because the Rex begonia dominates the entire build there. It wants to take over everything, and I'm trying to make sure that everyone gets enough access to sunlight in there. So those are rocks that I picked up along the highway, and then there's smaller rocks in there, and then there's gravel in there. There's actually dirt. There is no drainage hole because this is still a fireplace, and I didn't want to ruin that. Now, I did caulk it and seal it, but the caulking could easily come out if somebody else wanted to, have a fire going in here. These plants were my original setup in Kong Skull Island, and they kind of flooded out because of the moisture, and I was watering it too much, and the gnats were going crazy, and I was treating it, and it was just horrible. I mean, it looked gorgeous. It looked like an island. It was beautiful. And it had walls. The walls were bark with moss growing on them. I mean, it was heaven, but there were just too many gnats, and I just couldn't deal with the gnats that were in there. So let me back up from here, and I'm going to move the glass containers over so you can take a peek from the top down and see what's going on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here is the Art Deco punch bowl, and I hope you can see. Let me see if I need to get it down here a little bit. Aha, I see the flower. See that? See how it's etched into it? It's like that all the way around. This bowl is adorable. So there is a rattlesnake, and then three types of Hoya ivy growers, like the ivy type. That's why it's got these big sticks in there. So they have something they can grow up and out of. This one, let me see. We can go a little more here. Get you a little bit closer up. There you go. Now this one, these are all typical terrarium plants. They're adapting very well to this. I missed it maybe sometimes once a week, sometimes less. And it's always grown very, very well. It loves the sun. It loves the container it's in. It doesn't get any fertilizer. This is just water. It's hard to tell because the tanks are on the back side, but there you go. You can see how well it's doing. Now, I have tried to grow this also out of an aquarium, this Hoya, spotted Hoya, and it's doing quite well where it's growing. But that is the Art Deco. Okay, and here we have the second open concept punch bowl. Now, you'll see that this one also has a rattlesnake. When I find a plant that does well, I try to keep reproducing it in other conditions just to make sure it's going to be all right. The Rex begonia was tiny when I put it in there, so it is growing. It has gotten 2 new leaves on it. You will notice also, let me zoom in a little bit more, there is a native Texas fern inside there that's right here. I can't remember what these are. You guys will know that. My terrarium people, you'll know this off the top of your head. I just cut most of these back because they were getting too long or tall, and they were getting straggly looking, so I cut them back because I want them to be more compact. Now, this punch bowl came with the cups, and you'll never guess what I use the cups for. I use the cups when I put these plants in. When I cut these out and put them in there, I put a punch bowl cup over every single one of the little red plants and just took them off not even a full 7 days ago, because that's why they were getting so tall and they were in their humid condition. I expected them to die back, but they haven't. But I do have to mist this more frequently, twice a week here, because this moss is from Seattle and it requires moisture to thrive. There is an amazing mushroom in here, a dried mushroom that I love. I love to use stuff like this in my builds. I think this is gorgeous. I hope it does well. It's not that old of a setup because the fern really hasn't taken off yet, but the little red plants have. So, I mean, as soon as they get adjusted to me cutting them back, I want them to get more compact and dense instead of being straggly like they would in a terrarium. But this is one of my favorites. And let me give you a shot of the, so you can see here the angles on the side of it as well. It is just a beautiful thing. Because I want to get you guys to think about, you know, all of my containers are thrifted. I paid no more than anything, any of my containers, than $6. And so anytime I can find crystal and use it in the build, I am all about finding crystal and using it in the build. So I'm all about upcycling and using these to make give a new leaf, a new lease on life for some of these containers that we just don't use anymore. I mean, this either is going to be a punch bowl or it's going to be a salad bowl. I mean, because it's big enough for both of them. But for me, it's a container for an open terrarium. So I hope you enjoyed this one. This is number 2. All right. Who doesn't love a handmade glass lantern? Now, of course, if it ever had a top, I believe it did have a top because it's got a ripple around it, like it would have had a top on it. Especially like, you know, if you were putting a candle or something inside of it, you didn't want it to burn out. It would have some type of ventilation, but you can tell it's missing that. But I love this because it was still when I was using real gravel as my base, even though it's really, really heavy. But this was one of my earliest ones because I was having such trouble with gnats. I started putting gravel on top. Then I went back on this one and decided I'd put some moss on top, which has not died, but is not like thriving. So this one is going to eventually probably need a little more TLC. We're going to have to be a little more adventurous about it. But let me zoom in for you. See if, here we go. Now, the plant that's in here, I mean, you can see the moss is green, which is amazing. It's just not getting tall, but it is not that kind. It's more like that stuffed squishy kind. Now, the plants, there's a couple of terrarium plants in here. There's a little bit of a Texas fern in here. And this is literally a street plant from Kentucky. I was on a layover in Kentucky and I brought a piece of this back. I thought it was pretty. So in Kentucky, I'm sure this is a weed. But in Texas, look how pretty that is. That's just lovely. And it has roots all over the place, so you can literally lay it down and it'll just root wherever you want it to. But this one, I think what a big thing it has going for it is that the container, and you can see the coloring of the pebbles and the background and the foreground color. I think it works in here. I would eventually probably like to do this and do something with more color in there. But since the moss is growing, I don't want to change it because, you know, in Texas, when we run out of moss, I can always pick something up from one of my terrariums. But that's number 3. This is the lantern. All right, number 4. This one was my original called Slim Mini. This is the 15-inch cylinder. This literally is one of the very first ones that I ever built. And one part of it died, but the ivy started growing and the vines started growing. I just cut the green and white plant down because it got this long stem up to the top, but no more leaves on it except the very, very top. So it had this big gap. So I cut it down to where the leaves were, and I'm hoping that it'll do its regrowth and get back on track. But there's something in here I wanted to show you. These aren't planted in soil. I planted these so they could be movable. That is a root ball right there. That's a plant that has already died. You can see the twine around it. I took soil and, well, I put a little plant in there, and then I wrapped it in soil, and then I wrapped it in like moss, and then I tied it all up with twine. So the, see if I can turn it here, give you an idea. Yeah, there you go. You see that one? Look, there's its little ball of soil, and then there's the moss that's separate. So I'm hoping that the ball that is in there is not completely dead. And it's the same thing for the ivy. The ivies you can't see as well, but it is down there. The ivy one is really, really tiny. It's probably outgrown its little ball and is growing into the soil that's around there. But I wanted to make it to where, number one, the stick would go all the way to the bottom. And because I love the stick, it's very structural. I just love it. It's got this nice curve to it. And I do want my third plant in there. It's just, I'm trying to see if it'll come back to life. So I gave it a teeny bit of water, and I thought, okay, let's see if it comes back to life. But this is legit, is one of my first ones. Maybe it wasn't my best work, but I thought it was architecturally flawless. And so for me, aesthetically, I love it. Even though it's not the prettiest one maybe, but to me it's the prettiest. Okay, another one of my favorites. Now this one has a massive amount of soil, and it has a stick that goes all the way to the gravel bottom. So the stick was put in first, and then the substrate, and then the soil, and then the plants were put in last, because I did want to cut the stick down. Now I thought I made a horrible, horrible choice in this stick, because it first came to life. The stick was solid, fuzzy mold all over it. So I put some springtails in there, and they took care of it. It looks beautiful now. It's got one of the only, what I call, looks like little palm trees. I've only got, I think that's the only one I have surviving. I bought 3 of them. And that's, yeah, I think that's the only one that survived. Oh, you can see there is a massive, there you go, little isopod. When I was doing this one, I was outside gathering things, and I think I have like 5 isopods in there, and they're huge now. They're big. Yeah, look how big those things are. They're just loving it. They just love it in there. But it's got some of my favorite plants in there. One did perish. Well, one right here, one's not doing so well. Oh, you know what that was? That was a Christmas cactus. That was this right there. It didn't go well. And then here is another plant that it kind of went up and then it kind of petered out. So I had to put something else on there. But look at the backside. Oh my God, it's so pretty. Oh, wait a minute. You can't see a thing I'm showing. This is why I need a camera operator. I just cannot see a thing that I was showing you. Okay, so here's the backside. I love it. I love the architecture of the stick inside there. And you know, I don't do anything to these. I leave the lids on, I leave them alone. If they look a little dry, I might put a little mist in there, but that's about it. All right, on to the next. Okay, yes, you are looking at that correctly. The wood piece in there is so tall. It's angled so that it fits in the top of the lid. It goes all the way to the top. Now, I do have to water the top of the wood just so it does not dry out, but this one is doing very well. Because I'm watering it at the very top, the moss is doing well on it. All the plants look really, really good. Here's another one of my street plants. I can't remember where I got that one from, though. But yeah, that just looks great. Now, in here, it's not a fan of the clay balls. They don't do anything for me as far as making the substrate look pretty. But as far as it goes, it is nice looking. Give you a closer up look. I think that is a beautiful shot there. Let's see if we can do an inside look. Yeah, there we go. Oh, doesn't want to turn. Oh, it's because the tripod's touching it. Okay, but you get the idea. Yeah, it's looking really good. I'm proud of this one. Okay, so here is another setup I recently did. This is in my little hall area. You can see off to the left, there's the corner of the aquascaping table. And then I put lights, the same lights that are on the tanks and the other plants. I put one on every shelf on the larger section. And then here you have the terrariums that I've got sitting up here, and of course my bug zapper. So let's take a look at these up close. All right, so here we have another experimental open air. This is a candy dish, but beautiful etchings on it. This has a Texas fern that got too dry, one of my other signature mushrooms that I found, and then just some terrarium plants that I threw in with some moss. That this came from North Carolina while I was on a layover. So this was one of the last ones that still had gravel in it. I tried to pull some of the gravel out so I could put more moss in there, because once I got a handle on the gnats, I really didn't need the rocks in all of them anymore, and I wanted to convert them back to like a traditional terrarium that all had moss growing in it. But this moss is not really having it. I think it wants to be cooler and more wet all the time. And this one's an open air. So this one is not exactly, of course, the rattlesnake, yeah, it's growing well. These are growing well. The fern is not doing that great. So this is like maybe a C. I'm getting a C on this one. Or some of the other ones I'll get an A, but you know, this one's definitely a C. Okay. So this is one of my favorite containers. It's another candy dish. I love it. But look. Wow, wow. Okay, this one's a D. Only thing that's surviving in here is the moss. Whatever plant I had in there is gone, and I'm just waiting to find something that I want to put in there because it has to be small. But yeah, sorry on that one. It's a D. This one, a different story. For some reason, everything is growing in here. There's a waffle plant. It looks kind of dry. It needs to be cut back. There's a little bit of start of a prayer plant. You know what? I could take that prayer plant and put it in something else. And this is something I picked up at Walmart that I love. And it's grown in everything I put it in. But the moss looks amazing. It needs to be watered. It looks dry. Yeah, but the waffle needs to be cut down. Needs to be cut about half. And then I could cut this and then replant it in here, or just lay it on the ground and let it reroot. Yeah, but this one's doing well. I'll leave this one out to the side so I can do a little work on it. Okay, one of my favorite containers. It's a rounded rim salad bowl. Now this has been an aquarium for plants, and it failed horribly. This is not dead. This is a mushroom, mushroom that I put in there that's being eaten by the isopods and the springtails. And then, of course, one of my signature mushrooms. Now, if you notice in this one, it's got a lid, but the other one does not have a lid. And look, the plants aren't as big in here. The plants are still small. The moss is not doing as well. So maybe there's something to the ones that are open air doing a little bit better on some of the plants. But recognize my street plant again? It's not even doing as well in here. I don't know what's going on. But I love the mushroom, love the container, love the look. I just might have to put some color in there, lighten it up a little bit. Now here we have a dessert bowl. This could have been a parfait bowl. This could have been a jello bowl. But you can tell it's got the stem. It's got the ridges like it was made for some type of product that you were going to chill in it, serve in it, or flip it upside down, and it holds its shape. Here, it's another Texas fern. Some pine cones from Canada. Ooh, a mystery plant that came from the street. Ooh, I can't remember. That right there came from the street somewhere. It's got some moss that's doing well. I love the mushroom, of course. It's got holes in it. It's been eaten on by something. And I let it get too dry. These that are open air, I keep forgetting to water all the time, so they're having a harder time just because I'm not on them. I mean, the tanks get so much more of my attention than the terrariums do. But I still like it. It can still recover. Ooh, one of my all-time favorite vessels. That is a true hand-blown green glass vase. It's heavy. I'm loving it. What I'm trying to do is I'm growing some miniature roses outside in a pot, and I've been cutting the top off. and I want to see if I can get them to take root in here. Now, I just cut these off about 4 days ago, and I am watering it, so I'm hoping that it doesn't dry out. But this is another experiment for me. The last one I did, I put a lid over it. They died within 2 days. So these are much further along than the last set, so maybe I'm doing something on the right track. The moss doesn't look that great. It looks kind of petered out, but as long as the roses stay okay, that's all I'm worried about. But love the container. Okay, if I have to have a favorite container, it's my trio here. These are the same container in 3 different sizes. Now, the first one I found was this one, and I thought, that's a candy dish, but that shape might have something that goes with it. And I just looked and looked and looked. Within 2 days of each other, I found these 2. All 3 different sizes, all the same ridges on them. I loved it. It doesn't matter what's in it because they're not all survival. Well, this one is. Now the little one's doing very well. This one, okay. This one, not so much okay. But it's truly more about the fact that I found containers that matched. And I'm housing them together. So that is actually, what it's all about for me. So there you can see this one is doing really, really well. This one's got some of that moss from Seattle, which is still moist. Moss from another city, and a couple of plants in there. This one hasn't been in there that long because I found the tallest one, planted it up last. I had these for a while before I put anything in them. But being able to have all 3 of them, who doesn't like a match set? Oh my God, I love a match set. And they're a trio. They're just, oh my gosh, it just doesn't get any better than that. There you have it. Okay, so here is an unusual water dispenser. I believe this would have been for something like maybe a hotel had, because it's a little fancier. It's got bubble glass in it. The spout is silver. It's got this unusual shape, and it's got this peaked dome type lid that matches the lid almost on the 3 containers I had earlier that I just showed you. I'm loving this. I had to work really, really hard though to get that wood structure in there because the mouth of the opening of this is super small. And the plants have not died. I've cut them back. I want them to grow at the same level. I don't want one to be dominant over the other ones. The only thing I'm trying to get is this little moss up here. I'm trying to get it to spread. So let's go up a little bit closer so you can see. This one has the orange isopods. I can see them right now. You may not, because they do like to hide. And I don't see them now. They were right there. You see, I've got that patch of moss. Oh, it's not turning. The whole board is moving, but it's not turning. Yeah, the colors in here are going to be really, really pretty. I hope this one ages well because I think it looks really, really nice. And I love the bark that's in here because it's a nice dark bark. I just hope I can get that moss to really take off. So those are the terrariums that are not lighted. I don't want to do the lighted ones because I just got them all reset. So those will be for another video. But I hope you guys enjoy. Oh, I did want to point out, before we leave Plantland, my Christmas cactus. Okay. This little Christmas cactus, it bloomed last year from November until May. It was amazing. And it looks like it's got its little sprouts on it again. It bloomed and bloomed and bloomed. Now, normally it stays under the table because those are where my grow lights are. But I moved it up to the top because I like to see it because I have to remember to water it. And I've just been so impressed with it because that plant is 2 years old. And when I bought it, it was like a quarter the size it is right now. So I'm able to keep it alive. So anyway, the other one, yes, okay. I looked up and I saw something I had to show you. So it's not a terrarium, but look at this. All right. So you can see here, this is in bird on a wire. Well, maybe not because of the glare. Here, let's try that. See that? See the roots that go off into the tank, and then here's where it starts. This was 2 leaves. I brought this back from Tampa on a layover, and it goes up and up and up and up and up. Now it goes over, and it's going over right there. Ceiling is right there. Now, it does have all this space over here to climb on, which hopefully it eventually will. But look, it's going to where all the light is. I mean, it's doing a beautiful, beautiful job. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the terrarium tribute. I like the way that sounds. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the air or on the next video update. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.